Just wanna. I'm gonna go outside, man. There's too much dang echo up in this hallway here. All right. When it comes to internal martial arts, I'm gonna explain this through my personal Christian experience, but with this martial arts, internal kung fu training as well. And I know there's a lot of esoteric, and it can go any way. Here's the thing about martial arts. Like Bruce Lee was asked this question: do you need to be a particular religion to practice martial arts? And he's laughs, being a Catholic himself, but Catholic is very what anything goes in Catholicism. They're friendly to everything. They just want you in, giving some gold to the crown. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but Bruce Lee laughs, ha ha ha. There's been 5 major different religions that have all practiced kung fu, like for instance Buddhism, you got Shintoism, you have Confucianism, you have the Greeks practiced a martial art. It was wrestling, and they worshiped their gods, and the Chinese and then the Japs got their own gods that they attribute different things to, which is, there's the flaw in all those things there. But and Confucianism or Taoism is the other one. And Taoism kind of, there's branches or like pieces of that philosophy in all these religions, but there's also a Taoist effect inside of the Bible, but people are just ignorant of it. Where like Jesus is the philosopher, he is the stone, he's the philosopher's stone. This thing can turn anything into gold. What is the trying of your soul? Turning you into like pure gold. The living water. You drink this water, and you'll never thirst anymore. The living water. It's the fountain of youth. The elixir of immortality. Fire and water. You must be born of water, but then you must have the baptism of fire as well. Ba-ba-ba-bam. You see these, all right. Those are some Christianese aspects. Like when it said this statement is yin and yang. It's not yin and yang itself, but the statement is yin and yang. It says the rain falleth on the righteous as well as the wicked, and the sun shines on the wicked as well as the righteous. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's like a fourfold yin yang statement there, or what you reap you sow. So is there not a day and a night? You know what I'm saying? Is there not a sun and a moon? You know what I'm saying? Is there not, when you throw a rock up in the air, does it not fall back down? Does not a ball of, like if you held a basketball underwater, then you let go, it's coming flying back up. So that's all yin and yang, buddy. It's just me. It's like physics. It's like life. This matrix, the rules of the matrix anyway. And it can go up higher too. And Jesus also says that he is the way, but he also says he is the light. See, he didn't say he's the yin and the yang. There's something called the supreme ultimate, which it's all white, and it's not, it's just a circle, an empty circle. That's what it's represented. It's called like Wu Ji or something, like Wu Ji or something like that. It's called the Supreme Ultimate. But the Supreme Ultimate split into 2, and then that split into 4. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like a cell. Once again, these things all fucking dovetail in and out of one another. But all right, so it could be any religion and still practice martial arts. So, and when it comes to internal martial arts, there's 4 stages. The stage 1 is what you would call just a martial artist. That's just someone who learns their technique and becomes proficient at it. It doesn't even necessarily all the way mean mastery, because before you can actually master your original, just to being a martial artist, you have to go. The next step would be what you start to get into healing arts. Look, I was into massage, okay? And now, through my understanding of anatomy, and I also come from a family of nurses, so I'm used to hearing these types of certain information. So, and it's a healing art. You know what I'm saying? It's like resetting a bone or popping a joint back in the socket. These are like anatomical knowledge. It's a doctor's art as well. It's not just to learn how to fuck someone up. It's actually sometimes it's used to put people back together again. And then you can teach them to overcome their disabilities through taking one step at a time, I guess, and working them through the process. So, same thing if you're a Christian, right? And you're gonna go out trying to like minister to people and get them to convert or whatever. But ultimately, you're trying to heal them. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to heal at least a part of their soul. And there's even higher forms of like martial arts, like Mr. Miyagi, where these frickers can heal you. Same thing in the Christian thing. There is the laying on the hands and the healing, and helping people with mental conditions, but they're really demonic possession that masquerade as mental conditions. You know, and like I said, this is all doctor knowledge, man, and this comes in Christianity. It's also addressed in the Kung Fu. Is all I'm trying to say here, man. To show you some parallels here, and yep, Jesus called himself the Way, which is also the Tao in a way. Uh, let me think. The next one is what you would call a scholarly. And when you go scholarly, you start to branch out and you study all martial arts or different branches and different schools of theory, and you become an expert on their knowledge, or at least you research all their knowledge. So you become, see, that's what I meant by becoming a healer. You have to hit a high level of anatomical knowledge, and then you have to practice these qigongs, and through a long slow process it's learned. And I ain't even learned it all the way yet, but I can give someone a massage and I can take away their pain to a small degree. Like I can take my finger and I can dig right in their muscle and I can find the spot, and then I stick it, and then I twist their arm a certain direction and hold it there. It makes it like forces their arm to flex, and then I totally make it let it go limp, and then I kind of you smash around the knot, and there's a healing therapeutic effect, because if something's in your neck, it's got a kink in it. In other words, there's your lower back on the opposite side is going to be getting worked wrong, and then it's going to travel down to the opposite leg, down to your foot. So I mean, it's like it's like that's just that's doctor skill, but there's a lot of these different healing arts in all different the kung fu's, right? So, or martial arts, but scholarly also, that would be researching the tactics of your enemy. And it's the same thing. Like, okay, if you want to step into that levels of the scholar, you can look into things like Satanism, you can look into theosophy, you can look into the UN Lucis Trust, because you're studying the enemy. You're seeing their literature that they send to people every month, and this is what the fuck they're reading. It's not that I like this stuff, but in order for me to have a good strategy and understanding, and not be easily deceived and tricked through their moral relativism and their humanism. There's a lot of humanism in this stuff that I'm talking, and Gnosticism. It can lead to that, and that's why it takes much study and discipline and training to deflate the ego, because there's many examples of kung fu masters who went totally fucking egomaniacal, batshit insane, and did horrible atrocities. You know, knowledge is powerful. It's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? But that's another stage that likewise it's like knowing different denominations, knowing the difference between the false gospel, the false doctrine, denominations, which denominations are beefing with which denomination, uh, understanding the real ethnic ties between groups, not the fake Smithsonian version. Uh, this is all the part of the scholar, and this is in martial arts, but it's also something you should do in your study to show thyself approved. Musashi says you must study these things diligently. You must absorb these things into your body. And that's the same thing Jesus says with his word. His word is the bread and the blood, right? And you're supposed to eat it and absorb it into your very being. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, same thing here. So you can do it without having to think about it. You know what I'm saying? You can just do it without, you do it and you're not even trying. You're just doing it like naturally. You strike naturally. It's like your everyday stance is no different from your combat warrior stance. That's like when you're praying against these different friggin' denominations and all these fucking false doctrines and all this sowing discord amongst the brethren and all this division in the house divided shall not stand situation. You know, you do what you can in your prayer closet to make a good effect on that situation there. But the last one is a priest. So the fourth level of Kung Fu is priesthood, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that can be attained when you hit that level. And but it's also the same thing with the true believer, who's can use the Holy Spirit. These people can tell the future. They can read people's minds. They can cast out demons. They can heal people. You know what I'm saying? And they retain the ability to love people, and especially probably sometimes those who don't deserve it. And that's the same thing too. Is you know, if you hit priesthood level, it's like, man, you have to go through some crazy hard stuff to get there and not let it destroy you as an individual through like a pride filled, overly ambitious, self orientated apotheosis. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing if you become a high level Christian and say you start to think of yourself as like the only one who knows the way, and if everyone has to come through you to get your approval because you know what I'm saying? It's like, look, same thing there. That's where it goes bad. And this could be a very anointed, gifted, and talented by God and destined. He was called out. You know what I'm saying? But the pride puffeth up because somewhere along the line he skipped some of his lessons. You know what I'm saying? And a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, and that shit puffeth people up, man. And then when they get puffed up, you know what I'm saying? It's like they just tend to self-destruct easily at some point, or like it's better to have that shit happen sooner than actually become being successful at faking it till you make it, but you're still faking it and you ain't made it yet, and then all of a sudden, bam. You know what I'm saying? You'll be forced to acknowledge the errors in your ways, man. And that's the thing, dude. See, that's how you learn. Learn that we're so prone to mistakes, and it's not so much what learning is hard. It's forgetting the things that we've been taught to know that aren't fucking useful, or they're insufficient. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, these topics. I'm just saying from my perspective. You know what I'm saying? Since a man that was striving for masteries, but I got to be the worst most undisciplined and reckless person ever.